Please join me in welcoming to the stage a family whose strength and resilience serve as an inspiration to us all. Tonight, they bravely share their journey of love, loss, and hope in the face of unimaginable adversity. Please give a warm round of applause for our Spotlight Child's parents, Nick. By the way, I love you, Nick. You spoke. If Ava and Reese wouldn't have been in the room, we wouldn't have had to beep that, but we did. But you spoke from your heart. Nick and Pam Moran, as they take the stage to honor the memory of their beloved son, an advocate for a brighter future in the fight against pediatric brain cancer. With them, our Spotlight Story sponsor, the family of Jim and Sharri Baldonado from the Home Agency. Please come up to the stage, guys.
Good evening. I want to say thank you to the Moran family for sharing your story with us here tonight. My name is Sarah Baldonado. As you can see, we have a smaller group here tonight than usual, and this is why. My sister Morgan Yardley was diagnosed with breast cancer a year ago and is currently in Arizona receiving treatment, and our other sister Megan is spending the week with her down there. And our dad, who was mentioned earlier when Rick gave a shout out to him, he's not missed the Team Jack Gala since we first started coming, but he had a stroke 2 weeks ago today. He is doing well, but we thought it'd be better if he stays where he's supposed to at the hospital and do his recovery, although he wishes he was here. I do have my mom, Sharri Baldonado, and my sons Hudson, Axton, Carver, and Hollis here with me tonight. My family and the Home Agency has sponsored the Spotlight Story for the past 7 years and has been involved with Team Jack for a decade. The first story we sponsored at the gala was that of Nick Herringer, who's here with us tonight and still fighting brain cancer. We have seen firsthand with Nick, along with many other Team Jack families, the horrible side effects that the treatments have caused. Although some are still with us, the side effects from those treatments have diminished their quality of life. And this is why we continue to support Team Jack. This must change. Research is important to find better treatments to give kids hope. And with that, this year we are honored to present a check to Team Jack in memory of Jimmy Moran in the amount of $50,000 for childhood brain cancer research.
Just checking, okay. Well, I guess if anyone's ever lost sleep wondering what Rex Burkhead would look like if he gave up and ate Pop-Tarts and Hot Pockets, I hope maybe you'll sleep a little easier tonight, so. But in all seriousness, that came together on the way up, honestly, so. But we want to thank Team Jack for inviting us here tonight and spotlighting Jimmy's story and allowing us to share it with you. In all honesty, I wish that I didn't have to be here. I wish that none of us had to be here, but here we are. And I can't begin to tell you how amazing it is to have an organization like Team Jack operating here in the state of Nebraska. Before Jimmy died, actually it was a couple hours before he passed away, I made him a promise. And I promised him that everyone was going to know his name and know his story. And thanks to Team Jack tonight, everyone now knows his name and knows his story. So before tonight, about 95% of you probably didn't know what DIPG was. You probably never even heard of it. It's awful. 0% survival rate, no effective treatments, life expectancy anywhere between 4 to 18 months. Jimmy's fight was 7 months long, and it was 7 months of hell. He suffered for 7 months. We watched him waste away in front of our eyes every day over 7 months. First with vision problems, and then weakness. He then lost his mobility, his ability to talk, swallow, and then ultimately heart and lung function. All the while being fully aware of what was going on. He was trapped in his body for 7 months. So there's a theme tonight with treatment. So almost 60 years ago, Neil Armstrong's daughter Karen passed away from DIPG. And basically nothing has changed in 60 years. So 60 years ago, the standard course of treatment was radiation, which we've all know by now is awful, right? It's awful. And then families were told to go home and make memories. Fast forward 60 years, what we got? Radiation, pretty much go home and make memories. But now there's hope. There's another theme tonight, hope. And anyone that's been through this battle or a similar battle can tell you how important hope is. It's priceless. And sometimes it's your only friend. And that hope now comes in the form of advanced research and clinical trials that are funded by organizations like Team Jack. And because of everybody in the room tonight, that funding is possible. So thank you for your support. Thank you for joining the fight. And thank you for your generosity. Now, there were some numbers thrown out in the video and all through the night, but I'm going to revisit those numbers. It's easy math. I did all the work for you. So we're going to revisit some of them because they're important. So $5 billion, right? Every year, this country allocates $5 billion to cancer research. 4%, now remember that number, 4% goes to pediatric cancer research. Now, that's all forms of pediatric cancer. Blood cancers, bone cancers, lymphomas, brain cancers. Now, 6% of that funding goes to prostate cancer. So more funding goes to one form of cancer that affects one demographic than all forms of pediatric cancer that affect all ages and genders. I didn't come here tonight to bash on prostate cancer, though, so here's a little more perspective for you. Last year, this country spent $20 billion on NASA. Rocket ships and satellites that no one even cares about, okay? Now, you need more perspective. You like rocket ships and satellites? This one's one of my favorites. $1 billion was spent on vacant real estate properties in Washington, D.C. Now, there's people out there that are probably thinking I'm pulling these numbers out of the air. I'm not, I assure you. I'm flattered. I'm not that smart, all right? I'm not. You can look these numbers up online. The reality is that this country needs to reassess and fix their priorities, and it needs to be done now. It actually needed to be done 60 years ago. Funding should not have to fall on the families, but it does. And we have accepted our role in this fight, and we're slowly accepting our role as cancer advocates. But I can tell you we will do whatever we can to make sure that no other family has to go through what we went through, and no other kid has to suffer the way that Jimmy did. Now, at the beginning of Jimmy's fight, during his fight, and now as we've taken on his fight, people come up to us all the time. They're like, I can't believe how strong you are. I can't believe how strong you are. We're not strong, all right? There's no other options. We're doing what we can to get by. Jimmy was strong. The 7 kids from Nebraska that have passed away from DIPG in the last year and a half, they're strong. The warriors here tonight fighting and those walking around cancer-free, they're strong. The warriors that are no longer here with us, the ones that won their battles, like our friend from last year, Bella Eckhart, they were strong. Okay? So, to the warriors here tonight that are still fighting, keep fighting. And thank you for inspiring me and reminding me why I get out of bed every day to fight. Now, for the parents of all these warriors, I know this feeling. You're floating on a raft somewhere in the middle of hell, and it's lonely. It's a lonely place. I got 3 things for you. 1, you're not alone. You are far from alone. Number 2, everything you've done up to this point, everything you did in the past, treatment options, clinical trials, experimental drugs, all natural approach, you made the right choice, okay? This shit does not come with a manual. There is no brain cancer for dummies book out there that I'm aware of, okay? So keep going with your gut and know everything you're doing is right. The third thing, those days you don't feel like fighting anymore and you want to step away, I know that feeling a lot too. I've honestly, last 3 weeks I felt it. It wasn't until we hit the outlet malls where the pissed off kicked back in. But on those days where you need to step away, you step away. Because we're going to still be here fighting, and Team Jack's still going to be here fighting for you. And when you're ready, you come back. We'll be waiting for you. Now, I promised I wasn't going to, thank you. I promised myself I wasn't going to come up here tonight and ramble and ruin everyone's good time. And it is kind of a celebration. But I made you think about math. Some of you think about Hot Pockets and Pop-Tarts. So I'm going to leave you with this. If there's one thing you can take away from tonight, either from Jimmy's story, from what I've said, or from being around some of these other families tonight, it's this. The next time you're having a bad day, the cards are stacked against you, the chips are low, whatever gambling analogy you want to use here, I want you to do one thing. I want you to look in the mirror and shake that pity off. Be thankful for your health. Be thankful for your kids' health, your grandkids' health. Think of the warriors here tonight fighting, the ones that are no longer here with us. Think of Jimmy, think of Bella, think of Esther, another DIPG family member that's here tonight. And do your best to be happy for no reason. Thank you.